What's cracking, YouTube? Kicking it with you on a late Friday evening. So, have you heard of these things called caffeine pills? Apparently, if you don't feel like drinking a soda, you can pop one of these bad boys in, and it's like drinking 4 cans of soda in one, basically. Yeah. I've heard of caffeine pills. I'm always down to try something like that. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. Yeah. Well, anyways, next month I get to see Ron White in concert. That's gonna be pretty sick. Okay, it's not a concert; it's a comedy show, but still. And well, I have 2 tickets to Ron White, and I try to get at least 3 cigars for the show because Ron White's a cigar smoker. You know what I'm saying? Like, one for me, one for the person I go with, and that'd be cool if I could give a cigar to Ron White. I'd be like, yo, check this out. In fact, Ron White said it best: you can't fix stupid. Stupid is forever. But I figured, yeah, I'd pop a caffeine pill and smoke some pipe tobacco and bullshit with you, how I do, YouTube. And I'm no stranger to caffeine, I can assure you that. Yes. No, me and caffeine are no strangers, YouTube, that is for damn sure. But I got a little caffeine pill right here that I'm willing to take on YouTube just to see if I feel anything off of it. I don't know, some people, they can't, some people can't drink soda because of all the sugar and the acids that are in it, in soda, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for people who can't drink soda or energy drinks or anything like that for caffeine, there are some people who can't even drink coffee, so if they want caffeine, taking a caffeine pill would be the next best thing. If you can't drink coffee, or if you can't drink soda because you don't like the taste of coffee, and you can't drink soda because of all the sugar and crap that's in it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, sometimes we just need a little bit of a caffeine kick to get through our day, you know what I'm saying? But, now where can you get a caffeine pill? I'm pretty sure all your, your drugstores are gonna sell them, your gas stations might sell them, Walmart or Albertsons might carry them. Yeah. Caffeine pill kind of just dissolved in my mouth a little bit. It didn't taste too bad. Now, if I actually had a date, or if I could get a date and what have you, you know, I'd ask a girl to go with me. I'd ask a girl to go with me to the Ron White show, but yeah, the odds of me finding a date slim to none. So I'll more than likely end up like taking one of my homies with me. But as I should mention, any king cobra who's hunting for prey in the jungle, a patient king cobra will always get something to eat. But you notice that the animals who are too quick and impatient, either they don't find the biggest meal they can or they get eaten up, you know what I'm saying? So metaphorically speaking, that's like dating in a sense. If you rush out, you know, you date the first person that hands you a flower, or fucking the first person that says, hey, la-di-da, you know. And the biggest mistake you can make after ending a dry spell is saying, I love you. Yeah. You could go fucking months on end without getting laid, and out of fucking nowhere, some chick randomly pops by and fucks your brains out for a couple hours, and, you know, when you go for months without having it, and then you, all of a sudden, you know, it can be a very sudden sort of thing. And sometimes people will say things they don't necessarily mean, just they get caught up in the moment, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And yeah, that kind of shit can scare people off. I'm just putting that out there as a friendly suggestion and reminder kind of thing, you know. Yeah. This arm popped out of place right here, and it was hanging off the side of the chair, so I tightened the screw that was back here down, and then I took some Gorilla Glue and stuck it back on there. And I'm like, yeah. It's a little wiggly, but that should hold. Quite honestly, my other chair was in a lot worse shape than this, so I'm not complaining. This beats the hell out of fucking sitting on a goddamn acoustic guitar case. Way the fuck down here, hunched over a keyboard like. Oh, the old expression, don't judge a book by its cover. It is very true. Very true, YouTube. Very, very, very true. Yeah. Now, looks are not everything, that is the truth, yes, but at the same time, you can't tell me the first thing you notice about somebody is their personality. Because when people say that, that's bullshit, and I can tell you why it's bullshit. You can't honestly say the first thing you notice about somebody is their personality, because if you don't even know the person, you're just passing by them in life, you know what I'm saying? First thing you're going to notice is how they look. Guarantee it. And, yeah. looks are not everything, that is the truth, but at the same time, if there's no, like, physical spark on either end, it's just not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have somebody you intellectually get along with, but sexually it just doesn't do it for you, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. And it doesn't matter if you think she's super attractive. If she's not into you, it's just not gonna happen. And, I've had plenty of women that were just creeped out by me because they don't even fucking know me, you know what I'm saying? And then I've had plenty of women just flat out fucking stare at me like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, you could focus on the women that are creeped out by you, or you could focus on the women that are just gawking at you like, you know what I'm saying? And I honestly cannot explain why some women just flat out gawk at me like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not used to that. um, How the fuck are electronic cigarettes a safer alternative to cigarettes when the batteries have been known to explode? Oh, excuse me. I do believe my Asperger's was talking shit again. I can legitimately use that every time I fart because I do have, We're going to talk animation domination for a second. I noticed an episode of Bob's Burgers that I hadn't seen yet, and it was the one where Linda and Bob are in this, I think they're called LARPs, live action roleplay, and Linda was doing a LARP for her favorite TV show, and Bob got to be a guest on it, and Bob's like, I don't even like cigars, Lynn, I'm going to take one puff and one sip of scotch and I'll be out of there or whatever, or bourbon, whatever. And then, yeah, that didn't last long. But then, as part of the LARPing, Bob got to go skeet shooting, and he's all pulling out a double-barrel side-by-side shotgun and blowing skeet out of the air. And then he all distracts the people that are skeet shooting right there during the LARP, and he hands Lynn this crank, and she sticks it into this old-timey car, and she starts it, and some dude's like, why are the sevens getting onto the automobile or some shit like that? And I was just like, it's kind of, yeah. And then, of course, the last couple episodes of American Dad have been quite interesting, especially the one where Steve and his buddies get into witchcraft and shit, and it's like, I had to watch that episode as somebody who practices actual magic. Watching that from my perspective was kind of funny. But then, literally, in this new episode of American Dad, Stan's like, I'm a Powerball man, kind of thing, and Klaus gets transferred to Stan's car instead of being in a fish, and right towards the end of the episode, when Stan manages to rescue Klaus, and he's asking one of the CIA lab assistants, hey, you guys got any animals in? And then the CIA lab assistant at Stan's work was like, yeah, we just got a fresh shipment of animals, pick your pick, And Stan's all looking around the room, and then he sees a cobra sitting there all hooded up and everything, and then he looks over and he sees the lab assistant's goldfish, and Klaus is like, maybe the snake would be cool, and Stan's like, no, you're going with the fish. In fact, when I seen that Cobra pop off on American Dad, I was like, okay, I gotta share this on Facebook. This is uh, well, Bob and Linda are off doing their LARPing adventure. The Belcher kids are stuck home with Teddy babysitting with a bad back. You know what I'm saying? Shows like that would make Sundays just a little bit more bearable. Well, I don't go to fucking church on Sunday, so what else am I supposed to do on a Sunday? And quite often, I'm not able to catch any animation domination until the next day, anyways. So, yeah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. That's weird because sometimes when you're smoking pipe tobacco, that shit's a little harsh on the nostrils sometimes. But I fucking hate playing phone tag with people. Like, that shit gets annoying after a minute. That's part of life sometimes. You call somebody and fucking you call and call and call and call, and then your phone doesn't pick up the one time it's like it's supposed to when they call you back. You're like, God damn it. So you're sitting there calling them back fucking 3-4 times more, and they're still not picking up the phone, and it's like, fucking trying to get a hold of somebody, and that right there is what they call the tushy trumpet. You know, strangely enough, that fart did almost sound like a trumpet being played. Huh. Fuck did I eat? God damn it, dude. I had to fucking watch what I eat sometimes, man. But when I was younger, I could make myself fart on command. And you can only imagine a grade school me farting on command to make my classmates laugh their asses off. And much to the chagrin of my teachers, of course. They'd be like, Mr. Saunders, it's not appropriate behavior in class. Now quit farting. But yeah, if you're going on a date with somebody, avoid gassy foods at all costs. Because a first date is like a job interview, YouTube. It's an impression on somebody else. You know, a first date is a lot like a job interview in a sense. And that person you're on a date with is like your job or your significant other to be. And it's a hiring process. They're saying, why should I pick you over everybody else? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, your first impression of them is, oh, farts a lot. Yeah, no. Unless they're the kind of person that finds farts funny, then, yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. But sometimes you know you make plans with someone and you forget. Shit happens. But fellas, there is nothing more sexy than if your woman farts on a dinner date in public, and you take the blame for it, like straight up. You're like, "Oh, excuse me, babe. Sorry, I don't know what happened," you know. And I guarantee you, she's gonna be like, "Oh." Because women fart too, that they don't want to admit it, but they do. And the society we fucking live in, you know, people gotta be lewd and crude about a simple fart. And it's like, some people just have this attitude like, oh, if you fart, that's not very ladylike. Like, shut the fuck up. Seriously, with that kind of shit. Like, seriously. Farting is a human thing, you know, but still, all the same, you know, like if you're on a dinner date with your girlfriend and she farts and she don't want to take the blame for it and it's loud, everybody hears it, people look over like, okay, which one of you motherfuckers? At which table was that? That was nasty, man. That was just nasty. Nasty. And you see her face go redder than a glass of red wine, and it's like, oh shit, I'll take the blame for that. And she kind of just looks at you like, I don't know what to do here. This is awkward. You fucking take the blame for that shit. Boom. Again, fucking to you. That's a tip from me to you. Avoid gassy foods on your first couple of dates, you know. I mean, farting is a natural human bodily function, and, you know, a perfectly timed fart can bring tears of laughter to people's faces. I mean, if it's just the right time, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are going to be some people who are going to be like, oh, farting, that's just so crude and lewd. Oh my god, farting is so gross. And there will be some people who are going to be like, farts are funny. It just depends on who you talk to, I guess, because some people are, sense of humors are different, I guess. But you want to talk about like the worst time to fart at a funeral or in an elevator? Because I guarantee fucking to you, one of the two people are gonna be looking around like, oh, he didn't. Unless, of course, the recently deceased would have found farts funny in life. That'd probably be the only time. The only time you could legitimately get away with farting at a funeral is if the person who just died found farts funny in life. Then it's like, fucking let rip, you know, they would have gotten a gas out of it, I guess. That would have been kind of funny if the person would have found farts funny in life and they died because of a gas explosion in their house. And a way to commemorate the person's good spirit and humor, everyone just fucking ate a bunch of beans and tuna casserole and fucking, you know, fucking ripped ass at his funeral. Just, yeah, I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. And that's the thing about smoking a pipe, man. Fucking ash gets all over your fucking hands and shit. Ugh. Oh yeah, pipe tobacco. Pipe tobacco is a lot safer for you than electronic cigarettes. Because these things don't explode in your pocket, do they? No, they fucking don't. Oh, here's the kicker of it, YouTube. Electronic cigarettes were marketed as a safer alternative to cigarettes. But then some of them, come to find out, are worse for you than actual cigarettes. And on top of that, the batteries and shit explode on you. Oh, god damn it. Like, seriously, if the batteries are exploding on you while you're charging them, that's a factory default. And you're not going to have that problem with conventional tobacco. Fucking pull a cigarette out of your pack, light it up, fucking pull a cigar out, clamp it, you know. it comes to the dating scene, YouTube, it's all about knowing your worth. And as I've said before, you don't talk to chicks out of your social class. It just doesn't work like that. If anything, these chicks, they talk to you. If you got girls that are used to being hit on by every guy in the fucking bar, then they're used to a certain attention, if you will. And so they got guys buying them drinks out the ass left and right, and she don't have to go home with none of them. But if she sees that mysterious stranger in the corner, kind of minding his own business, just doing his own thing, I guarantee you it's going to make her at least stare once. She's going to be wondering, who's that person? And then all these dudes spend all their fucking money getting her drunk just so she comes up and talks to you, because, you know, you're not trying as hard as you can to make her notice you and shit like that. And I'm not shitting you, YouTube. I know it seems highly counterproductive, but with most chicks in America, you have to act like you don't care for them to notice you, which you think would seem counterproductive. You think if you got some fine-ass chick that you're checking out at a bar and you want her to notice you, you think you'd do something witty and impressive. You know, it says, hey, look at me. You know. Nope. And I've noticed this firsthand whenever I'm in public by myself, you know, and I catch attractive women checking me out. I'll act like I don't even notice. And every time it gets them to stare even more. Every fucking time. And I'm left with the satisfaction of knowing I have that effect on certain women. Yeah, there are certain women that are just in complete jaw drop when they see me, like, who the fuck is this stranger, you know, kind of thing. And it's much easier to focus on those women than it is the ones that are like, oh, you're a creeper. You know, fuck that noise. But don't be afraid to have standards, YouTube. Just because someone has standards doesn't mean that you won't find somebody, or at least something temporary, you know what I'm saying? I forget her fucking name. It's irrelevant, but there's this transgendered individual, and she thinks that if you refuse to date somebody because because they're trans or whatever, that's transgender discrimination. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm pretty sure, you know, heterosexual dudes out there, they see a chick and they think she's real, you know, and the chick doesn't tell them that she's actually a dude becoming a chick, and they're not into it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna, you know what I'm saying? And you get these people drunk under the false pretense, you know what I'm saying, of them thinking that you're a sex that you're not, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. That could be considered rape. I'm just saying, unwanted sex. Because I guarantee you, you know what I'm saying, so all I'm saying, YouTube, is that if you want to be transgender, that's totally 100% up to you, okay? But the thing you have to realize is that if you're on the dating scene especially, you have a responsibility to kind of let people know, hey, this is what's going down, you know, and give people a fair chance to make their own decision, you know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of transgendered people that when they go on dates, they're afraid to tell the other person that kind of thing because they're afraid they'll get rejected. And it's like, well, would you rather be considered a rapist, or would you rather them be like, hey, you know, that's not what I'm into, and then they just then they just fuck off after that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen stories on the internet of like this chick becomes a dude and this other dude becomes a chick and then they meet each other and it's just, it's bliss after that. Stories like that do tend to happen, but it's a very rare thing indeed if you know where to look. It is truly a rare thing to witness something like that. You know what I'm saying? But you want to talk about true love, YouTube, being married for 75 plus fucking years. And even though your wife's colorblind and she can't see very well, and you as a husband have Alzheimer's and you can't remember shit that happened 5 minutes ago, but you're still with each other till the bitter end. That, YouTube, is true love. Watching an elderly man who has Alzheimer's cut up food for his wife who can't see very well and having her tell him stuff that happened 5 minutes ago. That, YouTube, is true love right there. Putting up with somebody else until you're both dust. Straight the fuck up. Yeah. The biggest mistake I see a lot of younger people making is that as soon as they're out of fucking high school, they get married to their high school sweetheart, and then they think it's all good and groovy until, they live with that person for a couple of months, and then they can't stand that person afterwards. And it's like, well, you rush off into something, you know what I'm saying? First thing I want to tell you is don't be in a rush to get into a relationship. Take your time with that shit. Something beautiful doesn't need to be rushed, you know what I'm saying? There's no sense in rushing perfection. And the second thing I would say is don't be in a rush to get married either, because that's just, you don't have to have an elaborate, expensive wedding. You can go down to the fucking courthouse and pay like 20 some odd dollars and just to say you're married to somebody. But most chicks are going to want something, you know what I'm saying? Most chicks aren't going to be like good with just the courthouse thing. Most chicks, when they want a fucking wedding, they want it done up, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, Yeah. If you're going to have a wedding, why not have a wedding in a graveyard? Big old flock of ravens flying over your head. Yeah. Having the wedding in the same graveyard that you and your significant other are going to be buried in when you both go away and leave this internal plane of existence, that's some heavy shit, man. That doesn't necessarily have to be the graveyard that you and your loved one get buried in, but I think having a wedding in a cemetery is a lot more symbolic than going to a church, honestly. Because, and the sucky thing about getting old is that if you're married to somebody, one of them dies before you do, or you die before they do, vice versa, and they live on for a couple more years, and then they forget that their significant other passes away. It's sad, but it's a part of life, YouTube, And, well, if you have elderly relatives who are going through shit like this, you gotta be patient with them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you spend 75, 80 plus years married to somebody, and then one day they're no longer there. You wake up and you're alone the rest of your natural life, that's ugh. And you think being single sucks now. You think being single sucks now. Maybe in your 20s or 30s and you're like, man, I hate the dating scene, blah, 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 whatever. You think that sucks now. Just remember, it could be worse. You could be like 95 years old and like your husband just passed away and you don't remember shit, You could be like 96 or 98 years old and your fucking wife passed away about 2 years ago and you don't remember shit. You'd be sitting in the fucking nursing home looking for her and you can't find her, and it's just the saddest fucking thing in the world. But just remember that, YouTube. when you think that being young and single sucks. If you think that being young and single sucks, it does to an extent, yes, but like that's not nearly as sucky as going through something like that, being confused like that. You know what I'm saying? How much time have I wasted bullshitting with you, eating a caffeine pill, and 36 minutes, okay. I've gotten a couple of lucky strikes with photo booth. There's been a couple of times I managed to make it past an hour without photo booth saying, "Would you like me to force quit?" and then losing the video entirely. That's happened before with this computer. If the video goes too long, I'll get a message that pops up and it'll say, "Would you like to force quit photo booth?" And trying to save the video when that message pops up is pretty much pointless. Other than my voice cracking on a song I've already covered for YouTube and my last vocal cover video that I did, honestly, I can't complain. It wasn't half bad. And the fact that photo booth cooperated for a whole fucking hour, I was like, one thing that, there are going to be some people who don't date autistics. That's just something that I have to live with. And that's no different than somebody who's fucking trans. I kind of feel like that if I'm going on a date with a girl and she's legitimately a real girl, she's not, what I'm saying? I don't get down with trans, like I support their rights to do what they do, what I'm saying? That's their life. I'm not going to discriminate, but that's not how I get down sexually, you know what I'm saying? And that's not who I am as a person. I get made fun of for wearing goth makeup, for being goth. And, I've had people fucking, call me tranny and faggot and shit like that on YouTube just because, heterosexual male wears goth makeup and confident enough to do it on YouTube and, There are some people who just can't handle it when a heterosexual goth wears makeup. It drives them insane. It challenges their realm of thinking. And when it challenges their realm of thinking, or when they're jealous little pricks because I'm not afraid to be myself and they are afraid to be themselves, they attack. But going back to what I was saying earlier, if I kind of feel like if I go on a date with this chick, what I'm saying, let her know that, hey, I have Asperger's. That's not, I don't want to define me, but just bringing that to your attention. So if anything I do seems weird, and if she says that she doesn't date autistics, at least I'll let her fucking know before she found out. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't do you any good to be dating somebody that's not going to be attracted to you. That's just time wasted. That you could be dating somebody that actually values you as a person. And the sucky thing about being an attractive female, honestly, the suckiest thing about being an attractive female is guys treat you like fucking eye candy, and it's disgusting. There are plenty of attractive women out there that are super nice and they don't fucking deserve to be treated like shit by guys, but they do anyways. And then nice guys like me can't get a fucking chance in hell because, But assholes ruin it for everybody. It's no different in dating than it is with religion or anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, not every cop is a fucking trigger-happy racist pig, but you get the ones that are, and it makes all cops look bad. You see what I'm saying? It's no different than these fucking assholes who call themselves Muslims, but then they're like, oh, we're gonna kill a bunch of people and terrorize the fuck out of people and blah, 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 fuck all that. Fuck all that. When you got these fucking asshole terrorists that call themselves Muslims, and then people think that's what Muslim faith is about and when it's not, you know. I'm not a Muslim, but I've done some research, you know what I'm saying? When you practice black magic, you have to, I mean, it's not required, but I tend to think studying other people's belief systems, or at least just the bare basics, so you have some idea of what they believe in, so when they try attacking you for your belief system, you can look at them and be like, what? You know, and as an example of that, if some Christian thinks that me practicing magic is bullshit, I look at them and be like, well, you believe in this Jesus fellow that fucking rises from the dead, that sounds like fucking necromancy, and you want to give me shit about practicing magic. Yeah. And then you drank his blood, which sounds like vampirism, but it turned to wine. And then you ate his flesh because it turned to bread, which also sounds like cannibalism. But yet you want to give me shit about practicing magic when you as a Christian will sit there and tell me stone-faced that you believe in Jesus Christ who fucking rises from the dead and this and that and blah blah blah, and drink his blood, it turned to wine, eat his flesh, it turned to bread, that bullshit. Which, again, sounds like vampirism and cannibalism, yet you want to fucking sit there and say that I'm full of shit. Yeah, that's adorable. Christians and Catholics are very much against sin, YouTube. But if you don't sin, then Jesus Christ died for nothing. Loophole. Did you know that Jesus Christ had the best hands for masturbation? His holiness. Is that what they meant by his second coming? Now, see, if Christians get offended by jokes like that, you know, fucking practitioner of the craft making jokes like that, if they truly get offended by shit like that, and they start raising the stink about it and getting all pissy with me, I'm gonna look at them and be like, what would Jesus do? Oh, he wouldn't care about jokes like that. He'd turn the other cheek, wouldn't he? Huh. And it's like I said, I don't really give a shit if you worship Jesus or not, but if you try shoving it in my face, that's when we have a fucking problem. And I'm polite about it the first time. I politely tell them no thank you the first time. But if they continue to persist and harass me with it, that's when I become a religious dickhead. You know what I'm saying? And I mean sincerely religious dickhead and a half. Like if a Christian keeps trying to fucking harass me about, you know what I'm saying, like straight up. And I tell them politely the first time, not interested. You know what I'm saying? Like if I tell them the first time, not interested, and they continue to persist me, I look at them and be like, oh, okay, God loves all his children. What about all the starving children around the world? Where's your God now? You look at me and say he works in mysterious ways. Bullshit. That's a dickhead thing to say, but it's the fucking truth. And you see all these people posting things on Facebook. Oh, pray for this child. They need it. Their condition is so dire. I'm not trying to talk shit on these unhealthy children, but, you know, let's be realistic here. Fucking, I pray for a Lamborghini to pop into my fucking front yard. It's not gonna happen, is it? No, it's not. Honestly, YouTube, the power of prayer is complete bullshit. And here's why. The human mind is a wonderful instrument, YouTube. And if you believe in something hard enough, it manifests itself into a reality. And based off of that principle alone, I can explain the way prayer works. If you're a devout young Christian and you're a working member of society, as a hypothetical, you get down on your knees No, I'm just kidding. I'll try to be nice about this, explaining this, and not be a dick about it, you know. But you get down on your fucking knees and open your mouth wide to start sucking God's dick real hard. And you sit there and you fucking say, God, I know you're merciful. Can you give me a raise at work? In your name I pray, amen. You know, you do your stupid bullshit prayer. Subconsciously, you're going to start working harder, and your bosses are going to see it, and they're going to be like, oh, hey, so-and-so, could you come into my office for a second? Yeah, sure, what's up? I noticed you've been doing a really good job lately. I noticed you've been working really hard, and I really appreciate that, so I want to give you a raise. And subconsciously, you're going to think that God did it, when subconsciously, you did it. Yeah. Now, the reason why the power of prayer is complete bullshit and the power of magic is not, because you take a look at nature all around you. Okay, nature, energy. Okay, energy is everywhere. It's in everything. Even if the object cannot move, energy is in everything. It's everywhere. It is the life force behind everything. The Jedi would call it the Force, but practitioners of the craft call it energy. And when you get good enough at the craft, you can manipulate energy to do some pretty cool shit. I've witnessed it firsthand. The thing about magic, though, YouTube, is it's not something to be fucked with lightly. You know what I'm saying? And quite often the case with magic, people who get curious with it, they think, oh, I'm gonna try a spell because, ooh, it's edgy, you know. And fucking, they try it out of the curiosity of it, and then they do the spell wrong, and they think, oh, this is bullshit, it doesn't work. Or the worst case scenario, no one asked your opinion, Siri, shut the fuck up. Worst case scenario, they do the spell right, and it fucking opens up a gateway to the other side and completely fucks their life up. So magic is not to be taken lightly. There are some really, really, really dark spells and like dark energies you just don't want to fucking piss off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are just some energies out there you don't want to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? These are energies that I would be ballsy enough to fuck with, but you know, I've had a bit more experience, and I'm a bit more adept to the pathway than most people. So, you know, where's that book of mine? Ah, there it is. It's kind of pathetic when you know, one of your exes thinks that she's adept to the pathway, and really she's not. It's just, it's adorable. It's so fucking adorable. No, but check this out, YouTube. I was going to classes to, you know, learn up on my magical skills, and then my girlfriend at the time was getting curious about it, and she's like, well, can I come to a couple of classes? I talked to my teachers, they're like, yeah, I don't see why not, you know. Nobody had a problem with it, you know. But from that fucking turned into my now ex-girlfriend having a three-way relationship with my ex-coven teachers, and it's just like, oh, that's how you feel, you know. But if you're not gonna teach me shit, then I have my own fucking resources, I guess. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Is that what I think it is? The encyclopedia of over 5,000 spells. Oh, damn. Yes, this is correct. 5,000 spells. And this book has everything you want to know about spell work. Fucking, there's chapters on conjuring demons, fucking blood magic, sex magic, everything you want to know about magic. Different branches, all kinds of cool shit. Some straight up Aleister Crowley shit right here. And the only reason why I have not been allowed to attend Coven classes is because, well, the Coven teachers in question think that with me and my ex Stephanie's past, they think it would be awkward as fuck if we sat in the same room and tried to learn magic or whatever, and it's like, I wouldn't think of it as awkward, you know, maybe after the first 4 weeks of our breakup, yeah, that would have been awkward as fuck, but I think, personally, for me, enough time has passed where I honestly don't care, you know? I mean, Stephanie's not half bad looking, I could have done worse for my first girlfriend, but at the same time, I know I can do way better. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, dude. I'm not trying to talk shit, but at the same time, you know, like, what gets me is when Stephanie's messaging one of my friends on Facebook, telling her, oh, I didn't do shit for her. You know, Stephanie had never had sex prior to meeting me, so when, and I shit you not, I'm Stephanie's first fuck, okay? The chick loves it. Like, she can't get enough of sex. She's a fucking nympho, and she'll use any sad excuse she can to get laid. And it's like, I did that to her, man. I was her first impression of sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a confidence booster on my part, man. No, but for real, though, you two, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but, you know, I've had sex with 6 different women, and 5 of them orgasmed, so that's a good track record on my part, I'm just saying. Especially when one of them was cheating on her boyfriend with me. Oh ho ho! Fucking homewrecker I can be sometimes, god damn. Like, legitimately, I knew this chick who cheated on 2 of her boyfriends with me. Like, damn, dude. Underestimate myself sometimes. And it sucks when one of those dudes was, like, it really, literally, excuse me, it sucked when one of those dudes that was supposed to be her so-called boyfriend, like, when one of those dudes is, like, my homie and shit, you know what I'm saying? And he straight up just asked me, hey, man, did you fuck her? And I'm like, you know, I'm not going to be a fucking pussy-ass bitch and lie to his face. And I'll be like, yeah, dude, I fucked her. And he's like, honestly, man, what he told me after that was, honestly, I appreciate you being honest with me, bro. Like, that took guts. I appreciate that. I'm like, yeah, man, you know. And this dude's fucking balling up because his bitch broke his heart. And I'm like, oh, dude. I kind of want to, you know, like, part of me is like, yeah, I got to be a little homewrecker. Look at that. And part of me is like, oh, bro, that's one of my homies. Damn, dude. And what's stupid is that when the bitch fucking lied about it to her boyfriends, too. Like, that's, nah, man. Now, when I got kicked out of Job Corps, Stephanie was fucking upset, man. And Stephanie wanted to drop out of Job Corps so she could be with me. And I said to Stephanie, look, I fucked up, okay? If you complete the program, you'll actually be able to get a job in your training that you do in Job Corps. If you drop out now just to be with me, that training will be for nothing. So you might as well, you know, do something for yourself and fucking, you know, so you can get a job in the field and actually make some decent money, you know what I'm saying? So Stephanie completed the program for me, and the reason why I told her to is because when I was dating her at the time, out of the both of us, I fucked up. Okay, I got kicked out of Job Corps, I fucked up. I didn't want to see her fuck up her future too, you know what I'm saying? So I convinced Stephanie to complete the program for me so that when she got out of Job Corps, she could be like, oh, la-di-da, you know, get a fucking job in computer technologies or whatever, you know, if it was available. But then, it wouldn't have made much difference anyway because fucking as soon as she gets out of Job Corps, she got a job at McDonald's and now she's a manager at McDonald's, But at least, and she may not realize it now, but I guarantee you that if a job becomes available in her field of study that she studied for, okay, if Stephanie has the opportunity to get a job available in her field of work, if a computer job does come up and it pays her a shit ton more than McDonald's pays her, I guarantee you she's gonna be like, oh, I'm glad my ex convinced me to fucking complete the program. And you wanna fucking sit there and say I didn't do shit for you. Bitch, please. I found out real quick, YouTube, Stephanie's manipulative and she overthinks shit. And, like I said, I could have done worse for my first girlfriend. I really could have, she wasn't half bad looking. But, dude. And then the people who were involved in her life say, oh, we're done with her shit, we're done with her shit. And then they let her right back into their lives. And I laugh so goddamn hard. I'm like, it's your fucking life, If you say you're done with somebody's bullshit, but then you let them back into your life, that is on you. And whatever Stephanie perceives as happiness, if she's happy, then cool, fucking A, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not here to make shit awkward. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. No. I'm feeling kind of jittery. It's nothing to shake a leg at, but it's alright. Would I recommend caffeine pills to anyone? Yeah, fucking why not? Take, for example, when my so-called coven teachers that used to so-called teach me have relationship issues, and when and what I'm saying, either they work it out or they don't work it out, what I'm saying? That's not my fucking mess to be in, but when one of my friends try getting into a three-way marriage with Stephanie and the other two, and it didn't play out to his favor, and he got all depressed over it. I'm like, bro, come on. I understand you have that connection with him and shit, but damn, dude, don't, no, just no, okay? Being told no over certain things, it's just, what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. I just think it's funny, though, because yeah, I dated one of my homie's exes, and he dated my ex, and so it's like, hey, we're Eskimo brothers, look at that. This is gonna sound shallow as fuck, but I don't care. Man, I was having sex with this one chick, right? And she gave some decent head, I'll give her that. And she's like, oh, you're the biggest dick I've ever fucked. And I'm like, oh, what do you got a chick telling you that? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, you want to be in a relationship? And I'm like, I just couldn't do it, man. She was too chunky for me, man. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, grody. That doesn't mean that people of a certain body type should get discouraged. If anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, two options. You can bitch because you're fat and it's a hard time for you to get a date, or instead of bitching about it, you could find somebody who's into fat people and get over it. Simple solution to that. Oh, god damn it. An hour long. Okay, I don't want photo booth freezing up on me, so I want to end this shit right here, right now. catch you later, YouTube.